I want to talk a little bit about history, okay? Let's talk about some history. Do I want to, let's see, just off the top of my head, 406 AD, that's when the Vandals crossed the Rhine. The Vandals, the Germanic tribe, the Vandals, right? You got the Burgundians, the Franks, the Vandals. They're going to cross the Rhine River. That happened 406 AD. That's 628 AD. You had Brahmagupta's formulation of zero as a numeral. It kind of revolutionized math. We didn't have the year zero. We didn't have the number zero. We didn't have the year zero because we didn't have the number zero. And number zero didn't even come around until 628 AD. So I wonder what the hell were they doing like 620 AD, right? And 610 AD. If the zero was not even a number, how in the hell? I'm asking too many questions. 975 AD, that's when an Anglo-Saxon or two or three wrote Beowulf. 975 AD. But let's just go, let's fast forward 1,000 years to 1898. Okay, 1898, Eastern Kentucky, Breathitt County, October 13th, 1898. You're going to have Ned Callahan is going to kill James Deaton. So James G. Deaton is going to be the martyred, because we're going to have another James Deaton later on. But October 13th, 1898, Ned Callahan is going to kill James Deaton. He was killed October 13th, 1898. The next day, these words were published in a newspaper. More trouble expected, Jackson, Kentucky, October 14th. More trouble is expected over the killing of County Magistrate James Deaton by Ned Callahan, a prominent citizen of this county. So he wasn't sheriff at that time. So County Magistrate is going to get James Deaton was a county magistrate. Ned Callahan, just a prominent citizen, is going to kill him. Deputy Sheriff Tom Deaton fired 10 times while trying to arrest Callahan and his associates. So Tom Deaton is the deputy sheriff, tried to arrest Callahan, shot 10 times doing it. What the fuck is going on? So the story behind this is James Deaton goes for his gun. You got Ned Callahan goes over to James Deaton and his people. This is at Longs Creek. So this is just like Hatfield and McCoy's, right? The Hatfields just keep taking more and more of their, timber and land and shit that ain't theirs. Taking everybody else's stuff, right? They're eating fucking good, but they're making sure nobody else can eat around here either. So what happened is you have Ned Callahan that goes over to James Deaton and says, that's my peavy. That's some sort of tool. That's a tool of mine that uses for loggers to turn the log over. There's peavy and there's another name for a peavy, but that's our peavy. You took our peavy. And James Deaton knowing exactly what the fuck this means, they just came over accusing you of some fucking bullshit. So he reached for his gun, and they said that was it. After he reached for his gun, then they all shot him down dead. So he didn't pull the gun, he just reached for the gun. And did they have their guns pulled out to begin with? So automatically it sounds like James Deaton just got fucking murdered for no apparent reason whatsoever. James Deaton also was a prominent businessman, up and coming. He's part of a big family. And he was well liked, so he's charismatic and, becoming more and more wealthier, has a good industry, has a good business, is becoming more and more popular. He got elected county magistrate. Well, shit, James Deaton might become the judge magistrate. He might become the sheriff, right? He might become a state rep or a senator or some shit. Ned Callahan wasn't having that. Ned Callahan is also part of the KKK. So Ned Callahan, the Callahans got some explaining to do. The Callahans of Breathitt County, are y'all still KKK or y'all? So James Deaton, clearly the fucking victim of this. To me, it seems clear as day. All what, Mr. fucking KKK killed a fucking guy? Yeah, okay, Mr. KKK killed James Deaton. I think I'm on the side of James Deaton. So James G. Deaton, he's the son of Isaac Pike Deaton and Sarah Gwinn. and they both hailed from a large family. James G. Deaton had 10 siblings. Malinda Johnson, Nee Deaton, William Bill Deaton, Nancy Ann Stidham, Nee Deaton, Thomas Deaton, Mary Elizabeth Eliza Davidson, Nee Deaton, Charlotte Deaton, James G. Deaton. So, oh, that's him. That's not a sibling. So there's 10 kids of Isaac Pike Deaton and Sarah Gwinn. John Boyd, old Caney John. John Boyd Deaton, old Caney John. C-A-N-E-Y, Caney John, old Caney John. I don't know what Caney means, or Drewery. Fletcher Deaton. This is a big character in the Strong-Callahan feud in Breathitt County. Drewery, like jewelry, but with a Drew. Fletcher, Drewery, Fletcher. I bet he just call me Fletcher, fuck. But Drewery, Fletcher, or DF. Just call me DF. DF Fletcher. Drewery, Fletcher Deaton, Ambrose Deaton, and Jeremiah Jerry M. Deaton. That's number 11. Okay, so he did have 10 siblings. They had 11 kids total. So Jerry, Ambrose, Fletcher, Caney John, James G. Charlotte, Eliza, Thomas, Nancy Ann, Bill, and Malinda Johnson, Nee Deaton, 1842 to 1916. So, yeah, my God, Ned Callahan, you just opened up a big old, holy fucking fuck, the best of the best out of, what, nearly a dozen? There's a dozen Deatons. One of them got elected county magistrate, and you just shot and killed him over what? Was it justified, or was it some bullshit? We're supposed to go along with your word, and then Deputy Sheriff Tom Deaton was there. Tom Deaton was there. Fired 10 times. Did he arrest him or not? Now, James G. Deaton had a shit ton of siblings, right? He's the son of Isaac Pike Deaton and Sarah Gwinn. Isaac Pike Deaton and Sarah Gwinn had 11 Deatons. But James G. Deaton himself also had a shit ton of kids. And because he's going to get gunned down, right, born June 14th, 1852, he's going to get killed October 13th, 1898, martyred by Ned Callahan. He's 46 years old at the time, and James G. Deaton is going to leave behind 7 bastard Deaton kids for the world to take care of. So yeah, thanks a bunch, James G. Deaton. What good was it you getting shot like that? Did you go for the gun like they said? Thomas Henry Deaton, Sarah Jane, these are the kids of James Deaton that got killed in 1898. Thomas Henry Deaton, Sarah Jane Deaton, Willie Deaton, Ollie Deaton, Nancy Ann Deaton, Lillie Belle Deaton, and Levi Deaton. 7 kids: Levi, Lillie Belle, Nancy Ann, Ollie, Willie, Sarah Jane, Thomas Henry. Where the hell did all these kids of James Deaton, not only did he have 10 siblings, 10 Deaton siblings, brothers and sisters, but James G. Deaton had 7 of his own kids. 7 Deatons to, I guess, carry the feud. Talk about fucking shaking a hornet's nest. Holy shit. Ned Callahan fucked up, right? Ned Callahan fucked up when Ned thinks you think you got a Deaton, Deaton's gonna get you eventually. So, you might think you got the Deaton at first, but the Deaton's gonna tag you back. If you get a Deaton here, well, another Deaton's gonna get you there, so. The average number of deaths by violence in Breathitt County in a year used to be about 20. How many people were killed? Oh, about 20. So was there 20 killed 1898, another killed 1899, another 20 killed. Now we're going to have Thomas Henry is going to die 1902. He's only 20 years of age. Is he going to get killed too? Just over some bullshit 4 years after James G. Deaton was slayed by Ned KKK Callahan in 1898? Was Thomas Henry killed? by Ned Co or some of his affiliates. Only one man has ever been hung in Breathitt County. There's some racist shit, too, in Breathitt County. I mean, he's fucking KKK. Ned Callahan's fucking KKK. Now, all these are fighting, I think, on the Confederates, or on the Union side. They're anti-Confederates. So everybody in Breathitt County begins, you know, they start American history on the right foot. But then fucking Ned Callahan. So, Mr. KKK killed James G. Deaton. I'm going to go with the side of James G. Deaton. That's for goddamn sure. Nah, Ned KK, the fucking Grand Wizard, that fucking racist? Nah, I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. Now, 20 is the average, right? But in 1902, November 1902 to June 1903, there were 30 more people that were killed. 30 or more. So that was a particularly even more bloody, you know, time period for Breathitt County, November 02 to June 03. And Thomas Henry, he got killed in 1902. So what happened to Thomas Henry Deaton? But bet you that was some bullshit too. So Thomas Henry Deaton, he's 20 years old. Did he even have a chance to get married and have a kid? Or not? Thomas Henry Deaton, he's the son of James G. Deaton, so did he stand up to some bullshitting? That would be interesting. I'd like to know that. So, what's going to happen to Ned Callahan? Ned Callahan is going to get shot. Ned Callahan is going to get shot and killed by Jim, Doc, and Drew. So the day when Jim, Doc, and Drew murdered Ned KKK Callahan. And that's Jim Deaton, Doc Smith, and Andrew Johnson. James Deaton, Doc Smith, Andrew Johnson, they went to the hillside across the Friday was spent around Abe Johnson's. So they went to hillside by Abe Johnson's that Friday. Okay, so you got Doc Smith, Andrew Johnson, James Deaton. At noon, they sent for Dan Deaton, whom they had left at the home of James Deaton on the morning of Thursday. Now, Dan Deaton responded. All of them again discussed plans for the murder of Ned Callahan. James Deaton told Abe Johnson and Billy Johnson that his father, Fletcher Deaton, wanted them to come to Jackson on the train Saturday morning so they could be there as witnesses to prove their alibi. And that Willie Johnson was to come with them. It was arranged that Doc Smith, Andrew Johnson, Bob Deaton, and Dan Deaton were to go down to the Grand Sire Rock on the Mill Fork below the mouth of Long's Creek. The mouth of Long's Creek is where James G. Deaton got killed in 1898. To watch for Callahan and Ance White, who were expected to come up on Callahan's boats on that day. This arrangement was carried out. Before starting, however, they procured 2 quarts of whiskey. So I guess get that liquid courage. Drank about half of it before they left Abe Johnson's about 2 o'clock on Saturday morning. Abe Johnson, Billy Johnson, Willie Johnson went to Jackson. The other 5 men, Drew Smith, Andrew Johnson, James Deaton, Dan Deaton, and Bob Deaton, went towards Long's Creek. They all had guns. Doc Smith, Andrew Johnson, James Deaton, Dan Deaton, Bob Deaton, they all had guns. Before leaving Abe Johnson's, they procured a bucket of provisions. KFC probably went by the home of Granville Johnson where they procured another bucket of provisions. That was probably bullets. They boarded Granville Johnson's boat and started down the river. So Granville Johnson helped out, right? Andrew Johnson and Doc Smith, James Deaton, Dan Deaton, Bob Deaton. Look at all these people just helping old Jim Deaton get, you know, some justice for his family. They boarded Granville Johnson's boat. They started down the river, but the boat began to leak. And being too small to carry them all, they procured another boat at the mouth of Long's Creek. The boats were abandoned. From there, they went to the home of Willie Deaton, son of James Deaton, to inquire whether Callahan had returned home. And were told that Ned KKK Callahan had left the boats and gone home the evening before. After borrowing a gun from Willie Deaton, Dan and Bob Deaton went to the Grand Sire Rock for the purpose of watching for Callahan's boats and to kill Ance White. Who the fuck is this Ance White? Ance White is fucking with the Deatons now? Who had remained in charge of them? In the meantime, Doc Smith, Andrew Johnson, and James Deaton went to the hillside across the creek from Callahan's store. Arriving there shortly before daylight on Saturday morning, they placed themselves at a point where they could see the front of Callahan's store. Two of them prepared forks about 18 inches long, which they drove into the ground to use as rest in shooting. Two of them had these forks. One of them piled up some rocks upon which to rest his weapon. They watched for Mr. KKK, Ned Callahan, till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. They never caught a sight of him, but the front of Callahan's store contained a glass window, and then they could see the outline or form of a man passing behind the window on the inside of the store. Concluding that the shadow thus cast must be that of Ned KKK Callahan, they fired 6 shots through the window, 3 of them taking effect and mortally wounding him. Then the assassins became panic-stricken and left the places of concealment, hurriedly going through the backwoods to the home of Abe Johnson, where they got their dinner. After dinner, Trigger-Eyed Deaton carried them across the Middle Fork River and from there to John E. Deaton's home, where they arrived shortly after dark. By devious routes, the 3 assassins reached Jackson and the home of Fletcher Deaton shortly before daylight Sunday morning. There they found a number of men present who were there to serve as witnesses to establish an alibi for the Justice Brigade. And now the force we have brought balance to the universe, have we not? James G. Deaton got fucking gunned down for no goddamn fucking reason, and then guess what? Another James Deaton came up. I'm sure that other James Deaton had to have been thinking about his own mortality too. He just saw one James Deaton go down. So it's not the same. It's not James Deaton of his brothers, nor is it a James Deaton of his children. This other James Deaton was a cousin or an aunt or an uncle, probably. Probably more likely an uncle, right? But yeah, this other James Deaton, who I'm saying Jim, you got James the martyr, and then you got Jim the freedom fighter, Jim the justice, Mr. Justice, right? James Mr. Justice Deaton. Ned Callahan, Mr. KKK, Breathitt County. This is chickens coming home to roost. This is a good day. It's a good day to celebrate. And that's going to happen, what, 1912 or so? May 4th? He's going to get shot, and then 7 days later, Ned KKK Callahan is going to die. But who gets the credit? Doc Smith gets the credit, Andrew Johnson gets the credit, and James Deaton gets the credit. So Ned Callahan thought he got the Deatons right. He thought he got the Deatons because he killed the James Deaton, but then the James Deaton came back and killed him. So yeah, you kill James Deaton, well, another James Deaton is just waiting for you right around the corner. You kill Bill Deaton, right? They just keep multiplying. That's how you want a Deaton to multiply. Well, just, shoot him in cold blood. And then you'll just, you created a million James Deatons. Ned KKK Callahan. And you sealed your own fate. So there you go. There's some bloody Breathitt County, Strong-Callahan feud stories from the Wild Wild East. Right? I don't know. Anyway.